So you know that here, okay. Which makes you pay this much of pay.
Sio nyingi. Kidogo tu. Uko mbaya.
As of yesterday, we have been able to vaccinate way over 3.6 million children, and that is 86% of the expected target. We expected to vaccinate 4.2 million children, and we aim to reach 95% by the close of business today. We urge the parents and guardians and caregivers in the targeted areas to bring unvaccinated children to the nearest health facility to meet our vaccinators and the vaccination team on the ground. However, during vaccination, sometimes you may find rare occurrences that some children might experience some mild side effects, such as fever, vomiting, diarrhea, fatigue, muscle aches, amongst others. And at this juncture, which is very common, sometimes they can become severe, and the parents and caregivers are requested to visit the nearest health facility for a medical review or for a medical review of the child, and may report by dialing our 271 hash number. So these are common issues that may occur after the child has received vaccination, and it is advisable that the children should be taken to a health facility instead of keeping the child home. We shall conclude the second round of vaccinations today, November 13th, targeting 9 high-risk counties to vaccinate all eligible children regardless of previous immunization status. Children under 10, that is Busia, Bungoma, Trans Nzoia, West Pokot, and Turkana counties, where polio campaigns have taken place since 2016. Under children under 5 years, Nairobi County, we have 7 sub-counties that we are dealing with, that is Kiambu Town, Kikuyu, Kabete, Juja, Ruiru, and Thika Town. And in Machakos County, we have 3 sub-counties, that is Matungulu, Kangundo, and Mavoko. Kajiado County, we have 2 sub-counties, Kajiado East and Kajiado North. And unfortunately, due to low routine immunization rates in some counties and polio outbreaks in neighboring countries, Kenya remains at risk at any given time. And that is why we are continually doing the oral polio vaccination, because every dose means a lot. It adds an extra protection for any child who is below 5 years. Even if a child has received a vaccine during routine immunization or 2 days before the campaign they can always be vaccinated again. Why we do this repeatedly, and especially in our country, it is because our country has continuously confirmed polio outbreaks, and because of our borders, the influx of people from one country to the other. Some countries continue to report low immunization coverages. That is our neighbors, and they report quite a number of outbreaks every now and then. Therefore, it is important that our children who are below the age of 5 are vaccinated at any given time to ensure that they do not get the disease. And I want to assure you that all vaccines that are offered by the Ministry of Health are tested to be safe, effective, and they are approved by the World Health Organization. This vaccine is being used everywhere else in the world. So it is not just Kenya alone. And all vaccines in the country are tested by the National Quality Control Laboratory, together with Pharmacy and Poisons Board, and have been found to be safe and very effective.
Leadership of His Excellency Dr. William Ruto for convening this high-level event here in COP19 to take stock of the progress of the last year's summit that was organized, African summit that was organized in Nairobi. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we are all aware that African countries are among those hit the hardest by the climate crisis, despite having contributed to it at least. We all know we are not a victim, but it's good to really put it in table to say that we are with the health of the planet. At the same time, Africa is an essential part of the solution, with its potential for renewable energy and green hydrogen, critical raw material, its rich biodiversity, and young working force. Africa plays a fundamental role in the global transition towards a net zero and decarbonized economy. This transition is also creating new jobs and economic opportunity while improving the access to energy in the continent. As we are all aware, during the inaugural African Climate Summit convened in Nairobi, Kenya, in September 2023, African leaders affirmed in the Africa Leaders Nairobi Declaration on Climate Change and Call to Action, known as the Nairobi Declaration, that climate change is the greatest challenge facing humanity, necessitating urgent and concrete action globally to mitigate emission and reduce the concentration of the greenhouse gas in the atmosphere. Moreover, they emphasized Africa's potential to contribute significantly to global climate solutions, leveraging its young full population, vast renewable energy resources, natural assets, and entrepreneurial spirit to chart a climate compatible development trajectory. I am happy to report that we have achieved milestones attendant to the climate change declaration. Among them are a development of a roadmap comprehensive result framework and action plan, and significant effort in the operationalization of the Secretariat of the Africa Climate Summit in Nairobi, Kenya. To support, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, to support African Union member states in assessing climate finance and attracting investment into green development projects, the African Union Commission established a climate finance unit as part of the implementation of the Green Recovery Action Plan, known as GRAP. The African Union Commission, in collaboration with the Global Green Institute, the African Capacity Building Foundation, and Canada's support, kicked off the first phase of the GRAP implementation, with the first cohort involving 7 African member states, and I name La Côte d'Ivoire, Ethiopia, Lesotho, Namibia, Rwanda, Senegal, and Zambia. And 3 regional economic community, the East African Community, the Common Markets for West Africa, COMESA, and the Southern Africa and Southern African Development Communities, SADC. By leveraging the potential of climate finance and investment possibility, the GRAP Initiative seeks to enable these states and community to transform their economy, to build resilience and reduce vulnerability to future shocks, particularly targeting women and the youth. Based on this pilot experience, the GRAP approaches will be replicated in additional member states and RECs in future phase of this program. So I call upon our partners to continue this navigating with us in the implementation of this important initiative, which is the GRAP, because we at the African Union, we developed it immediately after the pandemic of COVID-19 pandemic, and it was the government of England that supported us in this project. So I call upon all the partners here that we're working together to join us in this initiative to navigate so that we can expand mainstream the results of this pilot project.
Africa held the first ever climate summit in Nairobi a year ago. The aim was to transform the climate narrative from the usual blame game to a win-win situation for mankind on the planet. The bold commitments in Nairobi have since been translated into some 4 key initiatives. First, the Accelerated Partnership for Renewables in Africa. Second, the African Green Industrialization Initiative. Then third, we have the Africa Climate Smart Agriculture Alliance that brings together governments, research institutions, and the development community to promote sustainable farming practices, provide farmers with tools to adapt and build resilience to the changing climatic conditions, and achieve sustainable food systems. Fourth, we have the locally led programs such as the Financing Locally Led Action. This is Africa's approach and model for global climate policy to help local communities implement climate solutions tailored to their unique challenges. These examples demonstrate that momentum is gathering and appetite is growing, a clear testament to what we can accomplish when we act with purpose, strategy, and solidarity. The strides we have made to date are commendable, but remain insufficient given the growing scale of challenges we face and the scope of action demanded of us. We must therefore up the game to turn all the commitments into concrete outcomes. We must mobilize the much-needed climate finance from both the public and private sources in scale and with urgency, striking a balance between mitigation and adaptation to ensure economic and social resilience as well as planetary safety. The replenishment of the African Development Bank Fund, ADF, and the IDA Development Association is therefore critical to finance resilient infrastructure, expand energy access, and drive sustainable development across the continent. A robust ADF and IDA replenishment will enable energy access for over 300 million Africans, ensuring development in a climate-smart way. We urge for reforms on the current global financial architecture, including by introducing debt for climate swaps, climate-specific funds, and restructured lending terms to enable Africa respond effectively to the climatic emergencies. Meaningful reforms will enhance access to climate finance and address the ballooning interest on loans, which create unjustifiable debt burdens for developing countries. It will also create equitable financial systems and empower the developing world towards achieving their climate and development goals. The Pact for the Future, adopted recently at the Summit of the Future, underscores the call for shared responsibility and mutual accountability. The true spirit of this pact is that challenges can be daunting but surmountable when we act in concert. I invite each and every country to join us in galvanizing a coordinated, collaborative effort to fulfill the goals of the Nairobi Declaration and beyond. Accordingly, I propose the following 3 imperatives. 1, strengthen multilateral and regional collaboration as well as country ownership. 2, elevate adaptation as a priority. Adaptation is a matter of survival, justice, and dignity for millions of Africans. 3, champion the financial architecture reforms. We should advocate for financial reforms to grant African nations greater flexibility, autonomy, and significantly lower the cost of capital. We need to support the ACS Secretariat to play a pivotal role in driving climate action outcomes, including coordinating efforts across Africa's climate agenda and preparing for the next summit in 2025. The Secretariat requires comprehensive financial resources to build robust operational capacity and technical expertise to implement innovative climate solutions and strategic partnerships to amplify its impact. As I conclude, I call upon stakeholders and friends of Africa to invest in the ACS Secretariat to serve as a driver for Africa's journey towards sustainable, resilient growth. By fulfilling the commitments in the Nairobi Declaration and the Pact for the Future, we will collectively create a legacy of resilience, equity, and sustainable development. Let us maintain the momentum with renewed commitment, innovation, and collaboration. Together with partnerships, we can lead, inspire, and transform. Let us turn ambition into action for Africa and the world. I thank you.